Motherhood is a sacred state. Mother and child is a blessed union. But what about the guy who sets the ball rolling? Why did none of the great artists ever capture the beauty of a man tenderly caressing the fruit of his loins? Takes two to tumble, after all. It's 2 weeks to go. How are the preparations going?
The preparations are hunky-dory. Everything's going according to plan. It couldn't be better.
Look me straight in the eyes.
We're sailing through life at the moment.
Look me straight in the eyes. Fortunately enough for a man about to leap into the unknown, Stuart Connor is a great believer in positive thinking. At 31, he's still ardently chasing his dream of making it big in the music biz. That's been the main focus of his thoughts in recent years, but now he's got a wee diversion. His first child is due in just a fortnight.
I actually sitting dreaming about having children. I never thought like that because I'm too preoccupied by other things, especially music. So when the notion of having babies was coming up, I had been noticing dads with babies, and around about this time, I suppose it was suggested that we should have a family, and I thought that was great.
Okay, Tony McInnes has 5 years, 2 kids and a few grey hairs further down the line than Stuart. He's not complaining though. Oliver and baby Rupert were always part of the master plan. So why did you decide to have kids?
It was a feeling that came into my head when I met Susan when I was a certain age. There was definitely a feeling there in my mind that I wanted to do it. Susan was the right woman to do it with, so when we got together it was a natural next step. But there was also a genuine feeling. I don't think it was broodiness. Maybe I'm saying that because I wouldn't want to say I was broody. But possibly there was a chemical thing. I don't know. Maybe it was a feeling that came upon me as it allegedly does with a woman.
When I was younger, it was something I always wanted, to have my own house and to have weans. So having them at 20 or 40 or 60 didn't really make any difference. Someday I was going to do it, you know what I mean, and it's always what I've wanted to do.
20 years of age and a father of 2, enough to drive many men to the vasectomy clinic. But Phil McKimmie is living it and loving it. He was just 19 when Taylor was born, and within 14 months he was celebrating the arrival of his second, Becky Louise.
I mean, I've tried being young and free and single, and you go from one to the other, and see when you're young and free and single, you've got more problems than what you've got when you've got wains. Wains you get to sit down and relax a wee bit.
In every man's life there has to be time for reflection. Ross Taylor enjoyed a high-flying career, but at the cost of 3 broken marriages and limited time with his 4 children. At 60 he's now retired, recently married for the 4th time, and at last able to take it easy and play daddy to number 5.
We decided to get married, and I joked really with Maureen and said, well, do you think we should have a family? And she said, well, you shouldn't joke about things like that. If you want a family, you should say so, and we'll have one. And I said, well, shall we think about it? And we got married in the March of last year, and we were on honeymoon, and she said, well, you know, have you made up your mind as to whether you want a family? And I said, yes, I would like a family. So we said, okay, we'll have a family. And within a fortnight, she was pregnant. In a shop recently in Kirkintilloch, I had Andrew out, and the lady said, oh, I see you've got your grandson there. And I said, no, this little boy is mine. Sure. And we ended up having a big laugh in the shop. It turned what could have been a horror story to some people into quite a laugh.
What do people mean when they say your life will change forever when you have kids? Do they mean it will be one long bonanza of fabulous family fun? Or is that me looking on the black side again? At least women have the certainty of morning sickness, stretch marks and a tender touche to concentrate the mind. All men have is a nagging awareness that the party is over. No wonder so many of them decide to just keep on whistling that happy tune. Come to the cabaret. This is when you're happiest then, is it?
This is when I'm happiest, definitely, yeah. I just get so ready to go for it. That's when it really starts to penetrate that we're going to do a gig. That's what it's all about, really.
But what's the good bit about this gig?
I like it because it's such a big venue, and it's a big stage as well, so what you get is you've got a bigger dynamic and you've got to be larger than life.
Do you think you'll be able to fit the baby around it all?
I think so, we're rock and roll kids. Well, the initial response was to go to bed and not sleep very well that night, thinking, is this really happening? Is Karen pregnant? If it is, What does that mean? That means that there's a baby coming into the world. That's a major responsibility.
So you wanna be a rock and roll star, then listen now to what I say.
Before the tester kit had turned blue, Stuart laid down his guitar and went out in search of a rock-steady income. He got himself a job as a trainee financial consultant, but only stuck it a few weeks. As the pregnancy wore on, he decided the price of security was too great, and he and his wife Karen were back on the road. Not flush, but not flustered.
Sell your soul to the company.
If I want something enough, I will go 100% to get that. And I never wanted the financial consultancy or advice or insurance salesman to be straighter about it. I never wanted that enough, because I looked around and I saw the sort of people that I would have been in amongst, and I thought, there's not a man amongst them, and that's a fact. That's what I felt. And I felt personally that I had a great responsibility on myself to do what I felt was a God-given natural talent.
Rock and roll. You're about to be doing a gig 2 weeks before the baby's due. How's the pregnancy been?
It's been great, it really has. I've been amazed how I've been feeling all the way through. I've had the odd bit of back pain, but I think that's due to previous injury I've had before. So, but other than that, I've been fine.
How has it been through the pregnancy?
How has Stuart been?
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's been okay. He's been fine. I mean, he's been quite supportive. When I was first had my morning sickness, he was sort of like, oh.
Do you feel you've discussed things as much as you would like?
I don't think we've discussed things as much as maybe other couples have, because we have been so busy. Actually discussing how we're going to be parents is something we'll have to face when we get there, I think.
I think Karen's a bit more switched on to practical needs than I would be. And I think that's a good balance in the relationship. Karen's maybe a bit more cautious than I would be. I'm a risk taker.
Tony's a bit of a dab hand at domestic duties. He doesn't have much option.
Right, straight, come on, turn around, straight.
How much thought did you give to the practicalities of bringing up a child?
Very little attention to that. That was probably the hardest thing to take care of once the children came along, was adapting and changing. So whilst we had all the nice feelings about doing it and wanting to do it, and it was a success, and we were lucky and we did have two very nice children, and they're both healthy children, the shock of adapting to suit their needs was enormous, and I would never underestimate that. So I've just got to know how to change nappies, feed them, put them to bed, bath them. So that's all something I've learned since Oliver was born, which was 5 years ago. So I'm pretty dapper at it.
Yeah?
No problem, yeah.
And do you feel, oh God, I've got to do it?
I don't enjoy changing nappies, but it's just a duty that you have to do. You get used to it, you just accept it. To begin with, it was terrible, because it's the most unpleasant thing in the world to do. It's not nice. Once you get used to it, you do it. And you know, for their comfort, it's got to be done.
And you don't think that as a guy, you shouldn't really be doing it as much as...
No, it doesn't really enter my mind. My father, I believed, never changed a nappy.
Yeah?
Yeah. So, I'm one up on him there.
You've got 4 older children, haven't you?
That's right. Yes, indeed I have. But I suppose I believe that having a baby in a marriage makes the marriage, and that really is the answer. And I have no regrets. I mean, Andrew is wonderful, and you know, before we decided, we looked at the pros and cons, my age, the age difference, and we looked into the fact that perhaps it would give me a stimulation to look after myself and grow old with Andrew.
How different is it then from the father you were able to be with your other kids, your older kids?
Life has changed since, I mean, my eldest is 36, and I can remember in those days I was striving to create a career and work hard, long hours, and I would go off early in the morning and baby would be up, and come back and baby would be sound asleep in bed, and really had not a lot of time with any of the 3 children I had. And I suppose now I wake up, I dress, bath Andrew, and I'm with him all day, and that's why it's so different, and that's why I'm so happy. What I always say is, who could hurt them? Who could hurt them? They're wonderful.
One day I was in and the woman was breastfeeding. I went in the parents' room, and there's a mother's room as well, and our friend asked me if I would leave because she was breastfeeding. She didn't want me to see her doing it, and I refused because for the simple fact is there was a room for her to go into. I don't see why I should be treated any different because I'm a guy. At the end of the day, I've still got a hungry brain that needs fed and changed the same as what she does.
I mean, women talk about getting broody, but I mean, men never talk about getting broody. Do you think that's because they don't, or because they won't talk about it?
Because they don't want to admit to having the same feelings that a woman's got, you know what I mean? A woman's supposed to, right, you have the veins and you watch them, you know what I mean? It's no, a guy's just drummed in for when he's younger, you've got to go to work, you've got to supply, you've got to make a comfortable home, you've got to do it all, you know what I mean? And it depends on where you've been brought up and stuff.
Phil finds himself pulled in two directions. He'd love to look after his kids full time, but the responsibility of providing for them weighs heavily on his shoulders. He's a tiler to trade, but he'll take whatever work's going to keep the money coming in. Ironically, because of his age, he often finds he's the first to be laid off. He doesn't really fit the image of family man. So, I mean, do you like spending on them then?
Aye, quite a bit. 'Cause some people like doing other stuff. I like spending money on the veins and buying them stuff.
So many hearts I found, hearts like yours and mine, torn by what we've done and can't undo. I just wanna hold you. Come on, let me hold you like Bernadette.
Men don't seem to get broody in the same way that women do. I mean, when is the last time that you saw a guy rushing over to a pram and going, "You are just the most gorgeous wee thing, can I have a shot?" I wonder if men do get broody. I mean, do they really, truly want this screaming little bundle that puts a kibosh on their sex life and their free time? Not to mention a drain on their finances. Do you have to accept that they come before you?
You do, and I have. Sue certainly has, so as a team we have. Susan and I don't buy as many clothes as we used to do, we don't go as many holidays. Materially we have most certainly accepted they come before us.
There's a lot of responsibility in it and having to provide for the veins, and some people don't realise how much. It'd just be good sometimes to get rid of that responsibility and stay home and enjoy yourself with the veins.
I mean, there's not many 20-year-old guys who would think their idea of fun was keeping a clean house and two nice kids.
I suppose, and you get a lot of stick, half the guys. And the last place I was working with 20-year-old boys jumping about, so, you know, I don't even know if my girlfriend can come out to stay tonight, you know what I mean? And you're thinking to yourself, Jesus, I'm getting home and I'll get rains there, you know what I mean? When you see other guys, you think to yourself, maybe I'm doing the right thing, maybe I should be out enjoying myself. But when you come home and there's a wee brainstorm going, oh, pick me up, it changes your mind. Second one.
I would not go out of the way to allow the child to be ruler of the man's life. It would need to be the other way about. The dad is the dad. The kid, for most of its life, has a responsibility to obey that dad.
I mean, I think that's probably different from what some people would say, in that I am second, the baby comes first.
Well, see, I don't live life by that principle anymore. I live life by a principle that goes something like this. As a Christian, love the Lord with all your heart, soul and mind, and love your neighbour as yourself. That's all. That's how I live my whole life.
We're not talking about your neighbour, we're talking about your child.
I'd put myself first.
Do you think you can give Andrew anything that a younger dad can't?
Yes. I think being an older dad, I've got a lot more patience than perhaps younger people have. And certainly I'm not striving to make a position. We're comfortable, and I think we can give him love, care and support.
Do you have more patience as you had as a younger man?
You do. Again, if you want your blood pressure to stay at a sensible level, you just have to chill out. There's no point in getting uptight about it, you know? Someone pukes, if you put a new suit on or you change for dinner or something to go out and the baby just goes throws up on you. Nothing you can do about it. You just got to get it off, get it cleaned. So you chill out quite a lot, I think. A 5-year-old cannot walk across the car park at the supermarket at 10 miles an hour, and you can. You just got to realise you've got a baby in tow. So you've just got to accept their world and try and move into it.
90s man certainly seems a lot more involved in child rearing, but what about the process of childbearing? Do they share every step of the pregnancy, or is it, tell me when you've dropped it, darling?
I didn't read any baby literature at all. Sue did most of that. She wanted me to go to antenatal classes and I didn't go. I just could not be bothered. It was fairly boring stuff.
How'd you know you didn't go?
I went to one. I did go to one, and that really confirmed the way I felt about it. It was dreadful, and I would say most of the guys, if they're honest, who were there, did not enjoy them.
And hands up who had a ringside seat at the main performance.
Yes.
And how was that as an experience?
Wonderful. Yes, tremendous. A very humbling experience.
Why humbling?
Well, as a man, one realises there's not a lot you can do physically except give support morally for your wife and help. But to see her struggle and create a birth is something that I feel very, very humble over.
A lot of guys will not admit to it. You'll see, when I says about when Taylor was born, they says to me, were you in the hospital, were you there? And I says, aye, and like some of the guys would say, well, I was in the pub, didn't want to admit to actually taking an interest, because it's not the things that guys are supposed to do.
Why are you not influenced by that?
I think they're stupid, to be honest. I think they're just daft wee boys. I know that I might be a daft wee boy, but at least I'm not trying to kid on it. It's not something. Everybody wants to have weans, you know what I mean?
What about the birth? How did you approach the birth?
The birth?
Was that something you look forward to?
I had blood poisoning at the time, a fairly bad dose of septicemia, which one of the registrars in the Western Infirmary reckoned was the worst case he'd ever seen. But then, of course, I would say that because I'm a man. Anyway, I was in plaster up to my thighs with my crutches, and I was at the bedside in a virtual coma. I mean, I was losing consciousness. I was on very serious drugs, and I was 2 days away from being in hospital myself. So that took a lot away from Susan's plight. I ate a bag of fruit and read the Sunday Times. I think that was my contribution.
Well, it started about 5:30 this morning, and Karen started to feel the baby moving in her house. So we had an early rise, but we waited until probably about 5 or 5:30 this evening, and then we started to realise that the baby was starting to move. It's new to me, and also new to Karen as well, although Karen in her nursing has saw about 12 births, I believe.
Do you think it is a positive development that there is now more or less an expectation that men should be at the birth?
No, I think it's negative. I don't think it's necessary at all. I think that you definitely look at your wife in a different way physically once it's been done, once you've been through it.
Once you've seen a baby being born?
It takes away any mystery or any mystique about any part of the female anatomy that you may have had as a man for all of your life. Once you've seen childbirth, there is nothing left to find out about your wife.
It's a bit late for that now as far as Stuart's concerned. He promised Karen he'd be at the birth, and he's sticking to it. There's actually a kind of feeling now that a lot of guys attend the birth because there's a pressure that it is the right thing to do.
Well, to see your wife in pain having a baby and all that entails, and all the blood and all the stress that involves, I don't think any man would really choose to see all that. If you love somebody, you don't like to see them going through pain. So that is one aspect why I believe that maybe a lot of men, maybe even myself, may not have wanted to be at the birth, because you don't really want to see that.
Everything up to the point prior to full dilation and the head appearing is fairly boring and straightforward for anyone who might be observing it. It's not boring and straightforward for the woman because she's in pretty serious pain. Once you see the head of the baby, that's an amazing feeling, because you then realise there is a being there, there's a creature there. And as soon as the baby, is born at that point, then that's a wonderful feeling. Against the fact that it looks like a butcher's shop at that point.
Okay. The baby's head's just sitting there now.
So I can feel it.
I've been at the birth of 3 of my other children. I have to say that the 2 boys I was at the birth at, but they were born at home. I mean, there I was rushed off my feet getting water and doing all sorts of things. In this last instant and for Andrew, I mean, the high-tech situation, all I did was stood and watched.
Is it Stuart? What have we got?
It's a little girl. But I'm going to cut the cord. I hereby take responsibility for this kid coming into the world.
Well, everything up until this point has been pure speculation. Fatherhood is now a reality for Stuart. In just over 3 hours of hard labour with nothing but gas and air and her husband for comfort, Karen delivered the goods.
I feel very excited, very privileged to be a dad, so I'm hoping for the best.
I'm looking forward to every next day. Every day is something new. He's developing rapidly. I'm looking forward to being able to take him to play school, toddlers, and also taking him swimming. Just taking him out and about is a tremendous pleasure.
And you don't find it an insult to your manhood at all that you're reduced to this domestic role?
No, in fact, quite the contrary. I mean, I suppose, at my age, say, yes, I did father this little boy.
But what if the novelty wears off?
The novelty has wore off. You realise that, oh shit, this is totally different to what I thought it was going to be. And you think to yourself, oh no, but you can't go away from it. When I was younger, I didn't have a dad because he left, and you kind of resent it, and I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I want to see my weans grow up. Nothing would ever make me walk away from my weans, and nothing would ever take them off me, because they're mine. I wouldn't gear them up that easy.
How much do you enjoy being a dad?
A lot. Yes, I do. I mean, I think it's very nice to have a couple of children with you and be in a situation where you're in a park or a public place and people even look at you and say, oh, what lovely children and stuff like that. There's an element of being quite proud and being happy with the fact that you've got 2 healthy children.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's you.
You came in with your sandwiches and your...
Came in with the sandwiches, so while all this is going on, in between contractions I had a cheese sandwich and a ham sandwich and a biscuit and a cup of tea, and I felt all the better for it.
Being a dad ain't what it used to be. Once upon a time, daddies were never ever at the birth of a child. At best, they'd pop in 3 days after the event just to see that mummy was still alive, just for curiosity's sake. And of course to check that the little babby was a boy. The next time they'd see the little seedling was when he was old enough to shave and pass the port. But it's a different story now. The fairy tale is over.
Alright, I'm just phoning with some good news, but our baby's arrived. And what do you think it was, a boy or a girl? Correct. And she's called Amy Louise.